You know, I mentioned this countless times before that Boko Haram, bandits, ISWAP, Janim, and most of them, the weapons they get is actually funded by some clandestine foreign operators because they are the ones that are supplying them weapons. Now, the Doge expose about the USAID has confirmed that actually Boko Haram and all these terrorists are getting their weapons through the funding that is coming from USAID. Just last year, USAID spent $824 million in Nigeria. Where did the money go to? Do you know what it means by 824 million naira? When you convert it dollars, when you convert it to naira, you'll find out that it's 1.3 trillion naira. Meaning each state out of the 37 states that we have, each can have up to 36 billion naira. Yet, this is what they claim to have spent in childcare, mortality, some education endowments and co. But what did you see? Nothing. How did the money come in here? Where did it go to? Ladies and gentlemen, this money goes to the funding of Boko Haram and the kidnappers that used to kill and destroy our land. That is the operation. So what Doge has done has exposed it. If you go to the last video I posted on my page, it's a United States congressman that is confirming this statement. A US congressman made a speech by saying that Boko Haram, bandits and terrorists that are operating in the Sahel, all of them are mostly funded by the USAID. Just check the last video I posted. Ladies and gentlemen, Africa is going to be great. Terrorists are now ending. What Donald Trump is doing in the United States is exposing the entire global corruption scandals. This is just a tip of an iceberg. More is going to be released across the African elite. Most of them that are in collaboration with criminals to destroy our land are soon going to be exposed, and we will have chance to reclaim our countries and our continent for the betterment of our people and our future. God continue to bless Africa, and may God continue to bless President Donald Trump and President Vladimir Putin and even President Xi Jinping. These guys are actually doing a very great job for the global community. I want to salute Elon Musk on the initiative of Doge. It's actually working.
Now let's talk about this update. This has been trending and this is really blowing up. And this has to do with USAID. And that is why Boko Haram, Islam, you know, they are all trending. And also the former president of Nigeria, Goodluck Jonathan. Because a congressman, a US congressman that goes by the name Scott Perry, made a shocking revelation about how USAID was used, according to him, was used to fund terrorism, including Boko Haram, Al-Qaeda in some regions in the country. Now Nigerians are saying that so Jonathan was not a weakling after all. Now they are saying that now they see what Jonathan saw. Let me show you this particular video where Jonathan spoke about all the forces that were against him during his administration.
Interference by the Obama's government was very overwhelming. It's not as if I couldn't have won the election even with that. But if by my own thinking and also the way some other people look at it, they go outside the normal diplomatic relationship, then it should be mentioned. Sending that person to Nigeria at the eve of election, after Obama even issued a statement directing Nigerians to vote for the next chapter, that tells you something. And we should not sweep this under the carpet. If a foreign country, whether African country or even America or any other country, interferes with our own elections, we should mention it. Immediately the Chibok issue came up, we expect Nigerians to be concerned. How do we get these girls out? Within a couple of days, we saw people going to the US would bring back our girls' placards. How? Why? And of course, the Mrs. Obama received one of those placards. I cannot take responsibility for the abduction. I don't control Boko Haram. They are criminals. But as a president, of course, you know, it's not the president that go to the field. You have security and intelligence officers that do the work. Let me admit that, yes, maybe they do their best, but their best was not good enough for us to recover the girls. That does not mean that I'm trying to remove myself from any blame. Yes, I may not be blamed for the action, but I could be blamed that my security and intelligence system were not strong enough to be able to rescue the girls.
So it has just been confirmed today in the US Congress that USAID has been directly funding terrorist organizations across the world like Boko Haram in Nigeria. As in, the US government was directly sending tens of millions of dollars to destabilize the Nigerian state and lead to the death of tens of thousands of Nigerian people for at least a decade now. And from that story alone, we can then deduce that it's very obvious that America orchestrated the collapse of Nigeria. And let me just give you some background to the story, right? So we had from 2010 to 2014 a Nigerian government that was essentially ensuring Nigeria's economic growth. I'm not going to say that this government was amazing. They were not. They had corruption, there were problems, but at the end of the day, Nigeria's economy was growing massively. I'm saying like 8%, 10% economic growth year on year. Nigeria was actually on track to become $1 trillion economy by this year, by 2025. And beyond that, they were also on track to become a superpower nation. They were actively expanding their influence across the African continent and across the world. Nigeria was in an amazing position. But obviously, this goes against American interests. America cannot have a powerful African nation challenging their, interest in the region. So what do? They funded Boko Haram. And from that's where the collapse of Nigeria started. Because Boko Haram was a massive problem. They were bombing Abuja. They claimed a territory the size of Belgium in Nigeria. They were destabilizing the country fully. It was a very bad position for the country to be in, and that is where Buhari comes in. Buhari was a former military dictator, and he petitioned to the people as somebody who would be tough on terrorism because, he was part of the military, Abi. So you can really see that America funded Boko Haram made this guy very popular. And then beyond that, America went as far as banning the sale of weapons to the Nigerian government. So the Nigerian government could not even fight against Boko Haram if they wanted to because they were denied access to any weaponry to fight against them. Why exactly would America ban the sale of weapons and fund a terrorist group at the same time if they're not trying to cause this government to collapse? This is very simple. This is very easy to see. Like, the correlation is right there. But I go further. On the eve of the 2015 election, Obama himself, the president of America, made a call to Nigerian people to go for change, to make the right decision. It was very clearly an endorsement, of the opposition candidate Buhari against the incumbent government of Goodluck Jonathan. The American government was actively fighting against the Nigerian state to ensure that the incumbent government lost to Buhari, the opposition candidate. And now we'll see the results of this issue, right? Because America succeeded. They got the incumbent government to lose. Goodluck Jonathan lost the election and Buhari came to power. And what exactly has been the result of that? The result is America has won. Their interests have been met. Nigeria has collapsed. In the past 10 years since our election, since 2015, Nigeria's economy has gone from roughly $580 billion in 2015 to $200 billion in 2025. In 10 years, our GDP has more than halved. Our GDP per capita right now is less than $1,000. We are at par with nations like Haiti, Somalia, and Congo. Nigeria has fallen off completely. Our military is weakened. Terrorist groups, so many. We have ISWAP, we have Lakurara, we have Boko Haram. Several different organizations at work in Nigeria right now, destabilizing the state even more. And now we know that America is one that orchestrated all of these activities. Now we know that America wants to destroy Nigeria.
USAID accused of directly funding Boko Haram and other terrorist organizations. U.S. Congressman Scott Perry has said that USAID agency, United States Agency for International Development, funded terrorist organizations including Boko Haram. Perry, a Republican representing Pennsylvania, made the claim during the inaugural hearing of the subcommittee on delivering on government efficiency on Thursday. The session, titled "The War on Waste: Stamping Out the Scourge of Improper Payment and Fraud," focused on alleged misappropriations of taxpayers' funds.
Who gets some of that money? Does that name ring a bell to anybody in the room? Because your money, $697 million annually, plus the shipments of cash funds madrasas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Boko Haram, ISIS Khorasan, terrorist training camps. That's what it's funding. If you think that the program under Operation Enduring Sentinel, entitled Women's Scholarship Endowment, which receives $60 million annually, or the Young Women Lead, which gets about $5 million annually, is going to women who, by the way, if you read the Inspector General's report, is telling you that the Taliban does not allow women to speak in public. Yet somehow you're believing, and American people are supposed to believe, that this money is going for the betterment of the women in Afghanistan. It is not. You are funding terrorism, and it's coming through USAID. And it's not just Afghanistan, because Pakistan's right next door. USAID spent $840 million in the last 20 years on Pakistan's education-related program. It includes $136 million to build 120 schools, of which there is zero evidence that any of them were built. Why would there be any evidence? The Inspector General can't get in to see them. But you know what? We doubled down and spent $20 million from USAID to create educational television programs for children unable to attend the physical school. Yeah, they can't attend it because it doesn't exist. You paid for it. Somebody else got the money. You are paying for terrorism. This has got to end. I yield, Mr. Chairman.
What do you think in the whole issue? What do you think? Everything is truth or lie? Are the Nigeria blaming? I don't know. What do you think? Now, this video is trending all social media platforms. Now, my own is to look and listen. You, what do you think? See me later in my next video.